Hello, Aldwyn Altuney here. Welcome to Media Queen TV. We have the amazing Krissy Jewell with us today. Yay! The rebel of receiving is in the house. And a little bit about this phenomenal lady. She is an NLP and intuitive coach, healer, speaker, trainer, author, and the rebel of receiving. She leads queens with a mission to reconnect to their inner wise woman, to be rewilded into their experiences of life, to create more harmony and abundance in all areas of their life. Krissy helps women surrender, let go, activate their sovereignty, their voice, connect to their emotions, take their power back, and learn to truly receive the magic of self and thus life. She's been featured in the Daily Mail and Get It magazine. She's been a co-host and speaker of Conscious Community Brisbane and featured as a guest speaker on many podcasts and global summits. And today we're going to be talking about how to turn pain into purpose. Welcome, Krissy.
Hello, Queen. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming on. You are amazing. I love your energy. You're such a phenomenal person and such a huge heart. I just love being in your company and just always feel so warm and fuzzy when we're together. So it's very, very cool. And I know you've had quite a journey through your life. So shall we start this interview and go back to the beginning and talk a little bit about your upbringing? Firstly, I'm really curious to share that if you're open to it.
Absolutely. Well, we're not going to go into like great depths because otherwise we'd be here for about 20 years. But in short, I had a really interesting childhood, a really interesting upbringing, and I wouldn't change any of it for the world, but I certainly wouldn't redo any of it. My mother was a very, very wounded, beautiful soul, but she never really quite got out of the traumas in her mind and in her body, and so that led to a very dysfunctional childhood. She fought addiction before I was born, and that went throughout her life, and thus impacted on a lot of choices that she made that put me and our and my siblings in a lot of danger. And it took her life eventually. My biological father, I didn't know. He was murdered by who I believe to be a bike club because of his choices around drugs. And so I didn't know him, and always had this dream as a little girl that I would go and have a relationship with him when I grew up and became a woman, and got to make my own choices and go and actually get to know him. But that was taken. So I was 12 when he went missing, and so that really clouded a lot of my teenage years. I grew up in a domestic violence house where my stepdad was very, very abusive. It was kind of like in a war, and a lot of, like, my mum was so wounded and my stepdad was so wounded and I was so wounded because I had a dad that I put on a pedestal and always thought, I'm going to go and have a relationship with him. So there was a lot of wounding, and it was in a war in that house. And so when I found out that he had passed away, I wasn't actually living at home at the time, and my whole world come crumbling down, because the fantasy of this man coming to save me from what I internalized as World War III and pretty much living hell was taken. And so I battled depression, and I battled anxiety, and I battled PTSD for a number of those years. My mum was actually diagnosed with bipolar schizophrenia just before that happened. So I could never verbalize how I was feeling, because then I thought that I would end up being locked up. And I was told repeatedly that I would end up locked up like my mum in a mental ward. So it was something that I had to really find deep reverence with, and deep strength and hope that there would be a day where everything would be okay. And I remember growing up, everyone would say, you know, the question that every child gets asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? And my internal answer was always, I just want to be happy. Like, I just want to know what genuine happiness is, where I don't want to take my life, where I don't want to hide from reality, where I don't want to escape, where I actually just genuinely feel and know what love is, and where I can actually be excited about anything. So that was my childhood, and it was very dark, and it was very, very traumatizing. And as a young adult, I went to uni. I wanted to be a lawyer since I was 6, and then realized that law is not what it's perceived to be on TV. And that the really successful lawyers were the ones that were actually generally being paid off by the bad guys. And I was like, well, it's not what I want out of that career. So I pulled out of uni very early, and then kind of went through different careers. But I always knew from the age of 15, I took a whole heap of pills when I was 15, tried taking my own life after triggering a man to great depths that I then saw my stepfather in his eyes. And I went, wow, I've pushed this man to the depths where I've seen that so many times from my mom and from my stepdad. And so I went home and I took a whole heap of tablets, and I was like, I'm done. I want out. I can't do this anymore. I didn't want the pain anymore. And unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way I choose to look at it, I failed at that because I took a whole heap of non-drowsy tablets, but I was so focused on not wanting to be alive that I didn't see the non. So I thought I was just going to have a whole heap of tablets and fall asleep, and that would be it. So I was up with my thoughts all night, purging all night, and I kept asking God, universe, source, why am I here? Why are you torturing me? Why, for what purpose are you not actually allowing me to have had enough? I've had enough. And I realized that I had gone through all the purpose, and the story I attached to it at that point was that I'd been through all of that for a reason, and to share my story, and that I knew one day that I would be doing what I'm now doing, sharing my story and inspiring other people to come back to the strength and sovereignty of who they are. And a lot more stuff was to happen after that, where I gained more strength, and I realized the patterns I was actually replaying and the life that I was creating unconsciously, to the point where now I truly see, and I get to help people truly see the reality that we actually internalize and create from the patterns and from the programming and from the childhoods that we have, and it lights me up. And I'm so grateful for everything that happened to be here now and living the most abundant, beautiful, heart-filled life, getting to share incredible connections with queens like you and soul family, and just truly receiving love and joy and peace and harmony like I never imagined was even possible. So, and I get to share my life with people and witness them grow and witness them be inspired by their own courage and bravery.
Wow, what a story, Krissy. That's amazing, some of the things you've gone through. And, you know, a lot of people do have things with parents where, you know, there could be things that are unresolved. So it sounds like you're at peace with where you're at, which is amazing. And obviously you've done a lot of the inner work, and, you know, you've done a lot of work around that, because, you know, I know a lot of people have abandonment issues. They have all sorts of issues with their parents that often they will just squash down or move aside and, you know, pretend it didn't happen, or just carry on regardless, right? Whereas this stuff can come back and get at you if you don't deal with it. You know, what you suppress or what you repress, it comes back, right? It persists. What you resist persists, as they say. So that's really cool. You're at that point. And whereabouts in Australia? I presume you grew up.
I grew up out near Kingaroy, Peanut Country. Jobajalki Peterson country. So pretty much most of my school years was out there, other than when mum would leave and then would go to Brisbane or Bundaberg or Maryborough or like wherever she was escaping to. Sorry, my puppy's wanting to come in. So wherever she wanted to escape to is where we would sort of go off. And I think that's why I became a bit of a gypsy, because part of my childhood was literally just going to all new places all the time. But the majority of my childhood was either on the Sunshine Coast in my first few years, or I grew up out in Inanango out near Kingaroy and in a small country town. And I'm grateful for that because I think country, like growing up in the country, you actually learn about deeper connections with people, and you find roots, and you get to appreciate nature and silence and stillness, which I didn't really know I appreciated until I did.
Yeah.
So it was beautiful.
Definitely connect with nature. So for those who don't know where Kingaroy is, compared to Brisbane in Queensland, where is it from Brisbane?
It's about 2.5 hours northwest of Brisbane. So you go out sort of Kilcoy way and go out South Burnett.
So just north of Caboolture and out towards Woodford, out that way?
Yeah, out past Woodford. So out past Caboolture, Woodford, then Kilcoy, then you get out to like Blackbutt, Yarraman, Nanango, Kingaroy, Mergen, Cherbourg.
Got it. Which would be very deep country, I'd say. A lot of deep Indigenous roots in that part of the world, right? As well. So
Cherbourg is one of the biggest Indigenous older tribes out there. So very Indigenous out there.
Wow. Amazing. And we're talking today about how to turn pain into purpose. So what was that journey like for you, considering you had so much hardship growing up? How long did it take for you to sort of come back from, not wanting to be here to actually now you love your life, and now you just get every bit of juice out of it that you can, from what I've known of you since the time I've known you. You have such a lust for life now, and such a beautiful nature, and caring and loving, and just, you have so much to give, whereas often, hurt people, right? Unless they've actually done the work to heal themselves so that pain doesn't carry on. So for you, where did that journey start, where you maybe decided that you I don't know, what was that turning point for you where you were like, okay, I don't want to end my life now, and I'm going to make the most of it?
There's been quite a few sort of pivotal moments and pivotal people that have helped, I guess, keep me on path or like bring me back on path. I think for my childhood years, my auntie, she introduced me to Louise Hay, and she was very, very driven on like, keep your shit at the door, and like, let's just be love, and let's just embrace life. And so I've taken on certain things from childhood from her, and I'm so grateful for her. The pivotal moment, like my first very big pivotal moment where I had to decide to stay and to, the last time I wanted to take my own life was when I was 19, and I'd had my son by that stage. So I had him very young. And it was in that moment that I was like, I actually need to find a way, because I cannot and will never do that to him. I cannot be selfish and not allow him to have someone who loves and adores him. I just didn't want him to go through the same experiences I had gone through, even though it would have been different. And so at 19, I made the decision. I'm like, okay, well, I'm here and I need to just make this work, and I need to heal, and I need to do better for him, because I didn't want him to have the same experiences that I had experienced growing up. So that's when I first joined my first network and marketing business, and I'm grateful for that, because it then introduced me to a whole new array of people, and introduced me to personal development, and introduced me to Abraham Hicks and The Secret. And it was the first time I had my mind open to a new reality, and to people that actually wanted a better life where it wasn't just, you know, the same thing and the same cycles and the same level of consciousness. It was people that wanted more and had this growth mindset, and they spoke about that. And so so at 19 I really started to look inwards, and I started to do the work. What I didn't realize at the time was that was all conscious work. It was all mindset work. It was all affirmation work, which what I've now realized since doing my NLP training is that it's actually quite surface level. And so I was pretending almost and putting on a mask and fake it till you make it type thing. And I've realized since doing my NLP training is that you actually need to heal the unconscious. You need to heal the programming, and you need to actually be with the emotions instead of pretending that the emotions don't exist. So I'm grateful for that first step into that world of personal development and realizing that I wanted more. It wasn't until I lost my nana and I found my nana that my world unraveled, and I kind of spiraled for about a year where I got quite heavily into the party scene, and I didn't want to feel the pain. Like it was just so consuming, and I knew that opting out wasn't an option. So I was like, okay, I actually don't know how to deal with this. I didn't have the skills or the tools to actually know how to regulate my emotions. So then I found partying, and I found ecstasy, and it was ecstasy. I found it was the first time I'd ever experienced love. And I know that there's a lot of clinical trials and trials now around MDMA and that helping with PTSD. And I truly believe that that 12-month period is where I started to actually connect and realize, oh my God, I have a heart. Oh my God, I can actually love. Oh my God, like I can feel. And although I was distracting myself from the pain, it was the first time I actually could feel. And it was beautiful, and there was euphoria, and I was like, oh my God, like, is this what other people experience just normally? And so it was coming up to my nana's 1-year anniversary, and I looked around at my life, and I was like, oh my God, she'd be fucking mortified with me. She would be mortified because I was starting to choose the life my mother had chosen with drugs. And I was just like, I cannot do this. I cannot do this. And then I had a really hard look at myself and thought, oh my God, you know, I haven't wanted to do this with my son. And now I have. I've just spent a year where I've distracted myself. And it was in that moment I was like, I can't keep doing this. And so I then was working full time, got another job at night, and then I started my first business. And so I went from distracting myself with drugs and alcohol to distracting myself with work, and being so driven to create a better life for my son and for us to have choices and for us to be able to have options. So I then dove deep into that, and I'm so grateful for that because then it opened up more opportunities. But it wasn't until my mum died from a drug overdose and my fiance left that I went, I'm recreating abandonment. I'm recreating more pain and being left and all of the things. Yes, darling, what would you like? Children and animals. Are you in or you out?
Yes.
You're in then. So it wasn't until she died and he left that I was adamant that there had to be another way. And my son was going through quite a lot of things, and psychologists and counselors weren't helping him, which they had somewhat helped me since I was 13 years old. And then all of a sudden it wasn't helping him, and I had to find another way. So I then was referred to an NLP coach for him. And I'm so grateful that he allowed me to sit in on that session, because I watched my son transform in 1 hour. And I was like, what did you do? What is that? I want to learn that. I need to learn that. He told me what it was. It was NLP, timeline therapy. And I was like, okay, who did you learn through? Like, I want to learn through that. So within a few months, I was trained as a practitioner. I then did my master practitioner. I'm now a trainer in those modalities. And I owe so much to Tad James for creating timeline therapy and for creating such a profound training experience, because it changed my life. And I didn't realize that I was going to be my first client. And I'm still so dedicated to being my first client. And it's truly changed my life in every way, because I realized that the programming, we are literally like a computer, and we are programmed for them before we're even born. And we can actually change the program, and we can upgrade, and we can format, and we can do all the things, but we don't know until we know.
Yes.
And I used to be the hurt person. Like, I used to drink, and I used to be, you talk about hurt people. I was that. Like, I didn't know how to express myself, because I had been shunned so many times, and I'd been told to shut up, and I'd been told that, crying is weak and all of the things. And so I didn't know how to express myself. And so I would block it and put it all down, and then I would drink, and then it would come out in venom. I didn't know how to regulate or communicate effectively. So when I started doing the healing work, then I started to realize, I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually the person that I never wanted to be, which was my mum. And so I started to heal my relationship with her, even though she'd passed. And I started healing my relationship with myself, and around the shame that I'd held, and around the guilt that I'd held, and around everything. And I realized that the more I healed, the less I hurt. And the more I healed, the less I projected my hurt at other people. And now, like, I'm still human, and I still have moments where my ego and my humanness will come out, and I'll get triggered by something, and I'll sometimes be like, rah, and then I'm like, oof, wow, okay, had a human moment, cool. And now what can I, yes, darling, and now what can I learn from this? What would you like to learn from this?
Yes.
Come on,
yes. Your dog wants to say his bit.
He now wants to be heard. So yeah, like, it's been a journey of recognizing that I'm still human, and I still have those moments, and recognizing the triggers, and just being so dedicated to my journey, and being so dedicated to just being the best person, and not shaming myself if I have moments of humility and humanity and humanness.
Amazing. And how long ago did your mum pass?
2014.
2014. Wow. So that's not that long ago. It's 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I hadn't spoken to her in quite a number of years before that. There was a situation that sort of happened. And at that point, I just went, you know what? I actually cannot allow you into my life anymore. I can't actually allow you to do what you've done to me, to my son. And it was this choice of, I'm actually going to protect my son the way I wished you protected me from people that would hurt, regardless of whether they're family or friends or whatever. So yeah, it was quite a few years before that. When I saw her. So
wow. And I do believe she's here in spirit right now. I don't think people ever truly die. I think our spirit lives on. In fact, it's scientifically proven that when we die, our body becomes lighter immediately. As soon as we die, our body's lighter. So our spirit goes somewhere. And
totally.
so, it'd be interesting to see what actually happens when we pass. We will be in a different level of consciousness, right? And we've got lovely Krishla with us. Hello, Krishla, making some lovely comments. Beautiful ladies, thank you for speaking and going first. That's beautiful, Krishla. And then she says, love the realness. Thank you so very much. Oh, thank you, Krishla. That's very sweet. Thank you for joining us. And thank you to everyone else who's joined us. If you have any questions for Krissy, feel free to pop them in the chat or let us know some ways that you turn pain into purpose. And, I could really relate to your story, Krissy, and it's like the yin yang of life. Sometimes we need to go through the darkness to really appreciate the light, right? And at the same time, there's always going to be that balance in some form. Right now we're seeing it in the world. We're seeing the light forces, the dark forces, coming in left, right, and center. And you mentioned shame, and back to this amazing diagram, which Dr. Espen, who we've both been working with, the amazing Dr. Espen, brought this to my attention recently, which was Dr. Hawkins' scale of consciousness, and Krissy and I are both working with Dr. Espen. And when you are in shame, my friends, you are vibrating down, right down here at 20. It's the lowest vibration other than death. So this is all, we're 99.9% energy and frequency, scientifically proven by Dr. Hawkins here. We vibrate at different hertzes. So when we're in love and above, we're sitting here at the top arrow, okay, love and above. And when we're in fear, we're down here at 100 and below. Okay, so you mentioned earlier, Krissy, you just want to be happy, which is up here and around love, right? Love, joy, peace, enlightenment is right up here. A lot of people just want to be there, right? However, a lot of people right now are down here in fear and below, which is 100 hertz and below. So it's really important to get conscious to our energy in any moment, because it does dictate how we do life. And, what are those things that make you happy? And sometimes, we need to go through these dark moments to actually say, no, I don't want that anymore. I don't want that for my son. I don't want that for others around me. And how old is your son now, Krissy?
He's 17.
Oh, wow.
18 in April. And what I didn't realize is that by me doing the healing work, I was actually healing him, because we heal 7 generations past and we heal 7 generations forward. So, I'm so grateful that I went first, that I chose to do the healing, and Mum is with me. I connect with her. Thankfully, I've really dove deep into a beautiful spiritual path, and I've been working with earth medicines now for about 5 years. And in that process, I've actually been able to connect deeply to the spirit realm and to ancestors and to people's ancestors. And Mum is with me all the time. And it's beautiful, because now we have this most amazing relationship, because her human and her suffering no longer interferes, because she's just in this state of love and that consciousness.
God bless your mother. She brought you into the world, and it's something to be very grateful for. And for anyone else here right now who may not be feeling the love, I just want to send you love with my little love heart right now. Sending you love wherever you are in the world, to remind you are loved, you are extraordinary, you're 1 in a billion just by being born. We're both sending you love here, okay, watching this right now, because I know a lot of people are very challenged right now with the current economy and the way things are going with the government, etc., and all the controls and limits on our freedom, etc., 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 right? With all the dramas going on out there, we have a choice in any moment. How are we going to be in these current times? Are we going to focus on things we're grateful for and find the joy in the small things? There's a lot we can do even in lockdown, right? We can dance, we can sing, we can get creative, we can write, we can do so many things. What is it that gives you joy? So, Krissy, what are some things that really give you joy nowadays, that just fill your cup up?
Every day is a blessing. I've had so many people pass or leave, and it's given me this immense gratitude for every day. Every day that is above ground is a beautiful day. And so it's taking time to connect with people that I love, to dance to Whitney Houston, to get out in nature, to connect with my son and just have a beautiful conversation now that he's moved out of home, and just really appreciate the amazing people that I have in my life, to connect with myself and allow time and space to just be with myself. And sometimes, I'm going through days where I'm integrating, or I've got things coming up, and to just allow the time and space for me to be with myself, to feel all the things, and to take some time to just rest or rejuvenate, or just love on my body, or whatever I need in any given moment. To sing, to dance, to play. I never realized how much play is actually important, particularly as an adult. We shun adults that play, and in truth, I think now more than ever, I want to be Peter Pan. I am Peter Pan, and I'm actually so dedicated to spending so much of the rest of my adult years playing, like going to do the things that actually are childlike, that light me up, and that allow me to be curious and playful and laugh, uncontrollable laughter. And you mentioned right now that, we've got so many things that are being restricted and forced upon us, and it's all choice. It really is, because one of the things where we get to turn pain into purpose, or pain into power, or pain into pleasure, is actually changing the way we look at things. And when we look at things, the way we look at things change. And so right now, Queensland just had their restrictions announced for the 17th of December. And I looked at that and I was like, oh my God, I'm so freaking grateful. Because what I realized is that, yes, it's taking away one of my income streams, and yes, it's taking away a lot of my freedoms for things that I've literally loved doing for so many of my adult years. Festivals, like I love to dance. So festivals is so important for me because I love to dance. Going out to restaurants and connecting with friends and family over a beautiful meal, like I love to do that. And so I could have looked at that and been really upset and felt like, you're taking more of my freedoms away. Or I can continue to come back within and be like, okay, so what gives me freedom in any given moment? It's myself, my choices, and my free thinking. And so instead of looking at it as a way of being not rewarded for my choice of sovereignty and my choice of actually trusting my health and immunity, because I don't drink, smoke, do any of that, I looked at it as the universe has just allowed me to pivot and actually invest my time and energy into things that are not of a low frequency, environments that are not of a low frequency, and to invest my time and energy into things that are actually more in alignment with the high level frequency that you mentioned now. And so now I feel this like even more joy and freedom, because now I'm actually getting to invest my time and money into frequencies that raise my vibration as opposed to lower it, in businesses that raise my vibration rather than lower it. I get to now make money and use all of my income streams from a vibration of love and unity and consciousness, as opposed to that lower frequency. And so I've literally looked at it and changed the pain of what it could have been into pleasure, into purpose, into power, and chosen freedom, because I know freedom comes from within.
Absolutely, so well said. And it reminds me of Viktor Frankl, who was in the concentration camps and wrote A Man's Search for Meaning. And, that whole story about, they can take everything away from the outside, but they can't take away what's on the inside, right? They can't take that away from you. So, and that's really, we are sovereign beings, and learning about common law is really empowering at this time. That's one way you can turn your pain into purpose. And in fact, there's a great website called commonlaw-australia.com. And I will share that in the chat now. I do recommend check that out. And there's a whole lot of common law groups also online and Facebook and all over the place. We've got Signal, we've got Telegram, we've got all sorts of alternative ways to communicate where you're not being censored, like on Facebook and Google in many parts, all these fact checkers and, massive push for vaccinations, whatever your thoughts are on it. I do believe that what I put in my body is my choice and should be. It's kind of like the whole abortion debate, right? It's like, well, it's my body. I'll choose whether I want to have the child or not, right?
Absolutely.
So it's interesting, very interesting times at the moment. And, I won't go right down that rabbit hole. However, if you really want to know what's going on in the world right now, just follow the money trail. Right, follow the money trail, and you'll get to it, right? And do some more research.
But also you need to be open.
Yes,
you need to be open to another way, and also once you start going down the rabbit hole, it's not a pretty sight, and you can't unsee what you see. But also from there comes sovereignty. Is that light dark? So.
Yes. Be open to learning. There's a lot of very interesting information out there. And the thing is too, when you're listening to some of this alternative information, it's important to not buy into the drama of it, because the powers that be want to divide and rule. They want to control. And, the more we can connect, unite, be kind to ourselves and others at this time is really, really crucial, right? Because those in power don't want us to live that way. They want to divide. They want the social distancing. They want us to be far apart from each other. They don't, because there's power in numbers, my friends, right?
Yes.
And, the beauty is it's like the 100 monkey story. We shift 1% of the world and it will shift another, 10% at least, right? There's massive shift can happen with even quite small numbers, right, compared to those that are in power, which is tiny. And actually, there's a great little cartoon on YouTube called The Tiny Dot. I'll put the link in here in a second, and it shows that out of say that's all the people in the world. So there's 8 billion people in the world, and you've got those that control the world. A tiny little dot right here, right? This tiny little dot. These enforcers are saying you must do this and you must do that, and the whole throng is saying, oh, but we really must we really? And they go, if you don't do this, we're going to send our enforcers onto you, right? And it really gives you a really good picture on, how life is and how the world is and how much so many people are controlled and brainwashed and don't realize they're being brainwashed, and they're living in pain. A lot of these people are living in pain because they feel out of control. And what we're talking about here is actually you have that control and power within yourself. Doesn't matter what anyone else says, right? So really finding that love within yourself. And as my girlfriend Tracy says, all the love you have for others, Aldwyn, she says, is also there for you.
Right? Yes. That's why it's the rebel of receiving. It's when we actually can receive the love for ourselves is where we can allow ourselves to actually receive the love from others. And, speaking into that, we can only meet ourselves and other people as far as we've met ourselves. And so if other people are in this pain of what's happening outside of themselves and are feeling like they've got a lack of control, what I invite you to look at is where in your life, particularly in your childhood, has this actually shown up for you? Because what we're seeing is a global scale of our shadow. And by shadow, I mean that those elements that we've hidden and pushed down and are so deeply unconscious that it's being reflected out to you from other people, or now this is the Great Awakening at a global scale. We're now seeing our shadow at a global scale for us to actually come back home to ourselves and look within and actually have a look at, well, where have I been controlled in my life before? What did I learn from that? Where have I been manipulated in the past? What can I learn from that? Where have I had my freedom taken away in the past? Where can I learn from that? Where have I felt like I didn't have a voice or I couldn't have a voice? What can I learn from that? So it's literally allowing us to go within and heal those parts of ourselves so that we can have the sovereignty and the freedom and the purpose and the mission of our hearts to actually then show up and create a life that we desire. And you mentioned 1% can turn into 10%. We don't need everyone to wake up, and I hate that term. We don't need everyone to change their mind. There is a lot of people that are under hypnosis. It is brainwashing. It's a hypnotic trance. Like, I'm a trainer in hypnosis. I can see what they're doing. I can see what is happening. And so I don't shame anyone who is in that program. And I certainly don't tell people that they're stupid because they're in that program, because it's just a trance. They're in a deep, deep trance. And how to break someone's trance is then you feed their values with love, with support, with connection, with community, with tribe. Whatever someone's values are, we get to feed their values. And if you know people that are in your life that you love and support and want to share a beautiful life with, and they're stuck in that hypnotic trance, then how can you bring them out? Give them love, give them communication, give them the things that are going to actually activate their values, as opposed to instill more fear and separation and division and control and all of the things that they're already feeling and already experiencing. So
nicely said. And the age old Beatles song, all you need is love, right? All you need is love, my friends. That's all you need. Love, love, love.
Mm,
That's all you need. Hello,
absolutely.
Dana. Dana's joining us today. Dana's awesome. Good
Hello,
evening,
beautiful.
Aldwyn and Krissy, she says. Good to see you, Dana. And Krishna's saying, keep coming back to presence.
Yes. This now moment, because the past doesn't exist. It's actually just a loop we have overplaying in our minds, and the future doesn't exist, which is anxiety, fear of the future. That doesn't exist, and we get to create it, but we can't create that from lack. We can't create that from division. We can't create that from separation. We can't create that from fear, because otherwise you're going to create that reality of more fear, more division, more separation, blah, blah, blah. So the more we can connect in with ourself, our sovereignty, our truth, our love, self-love and self-acceptance in this now moment, and just appreciate the smell of the rain, the sound of the birds, our bare feet on the ground, connecting back to Mama Nature and just finding the groundedness in her. The more we can connect in with our heart, our body, and just feel, to actually fully receive this now moment, to fully receive the abundance that is actually around us every moment when we stop and just smell the roses. Literally stop and smell the roses. There is beauty in every now moment.
So true. And this morning I was actually out at Redlands. Now, I love being near the water. One of my happy places is right near the water, or even better, in the water. I am such a beach baby. I grew up in the Northern Beaches area of Sydney, in Manly, and I now live in Southport, very close to the ocean. I feel the sea breezes from where I am. And I know that whenever I'm feeling a little bit low, I will get myself into the ocean. And this morning I was at Cleveland at the Key Business Network Redland meeting. I was talking about how to gain thousands of dollars of free publicity this morning. And after the meeting, so I went from like 7 till 9 a.m. It was an early start for me. And the day before I was in Darra in Brisbane, which is about an hour drive from the Gold Coast for anyone who doesn't know the area. And after the meeting, it was actually held right on the water at Raby Bay. It was a beautiful spot with the, with the boats, etc. And I just went out there and I did some panoramic photos of the whole area, which I will share on my social media. I haven't shared them yet, but I'll share it, because I just took a moment and just appreciated how beautiful it was. And I took a moment, looked in the water, and I saw some little tiny fish swimming around, and just to appreciate that. And then I saw some beautiful flowers that I used to see in Sydney, these beautiful big flowers. And I just stopped for a moment and took some photos of the purple flowers and the white flowers, and which I'll also share on my social media. So have a look on Instagram, Facebook later for those. But just taking those moments and just enjoying the beauty that is all around us. It is just so magnificent. It's so juicy. It's so yummy. And we have so much abundance that it's just a matter of what you choose to focus on. What you choose to focus on grows, right? What you think about and think about, you will bring about. Think about and think about, you bring about. And, gratitude is massive. Gratitude. I started the Global Good News Challenge during COVID. Gratitude is so important. Have a gratitude practice of some sort, I do recommend. Now, what do you do in line with that, Krissy, around gratitude?
I am just going to show you what I've just bought myself as a gift, because I do that often. I take myself out on dates and I buy myself gifts.
Nice. Oh, it's gorgeous. Wow, 2022.
The most stunning gratitude diary ever.
That is beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just exquisite. Like, it's just probably the most beautiful diary I think I've probably ever owned in my life. Like, just stunning. So I highly recommend to get yourself one of these, because gratitude is everything, and it raises our vibration. Like we talk about, love being 500 hertz. Gratitude, I'm pretty sure, is 700. Gratitude will change your life. And if you have the ability, for me, there's so many people that talk about, connecting with gratitude every day. Whereas for me, I connect in with gratitude as much as I actually consciously allow myself. So sometimes that might be 5, 6, 7 times in a day, and just taking a moment, sitting out on my beautiful friend's barley hut, and we just sit there and witness, the ducks and the birds and listening to the frogs, and just being so grateful that we have this beautiful space just outside of Brisbane, and just being so grateful that this beautiful woman and her family have allowed me to park my van at the back of their property, because I'm supposed to be traveling Australia right now. I sold my house and everything I own to go traveling Australia, and then borders closed and restrictions happened. And so I'm in like the deepest level of surrender, and it's beautiful. And I get to just appreciate that. And my dog, who is just like this beautiful black fluff ball of unconditional love, who will just love every ounce of me. It's literally taking a moment as often as you can to come back to now, and just being so grateful for the air you breathe, for the water, for the food, for the roof over your head, for soul family. Like, I have now the most incredible people in my life. Aldwyn, like, just what we got to experience over the weekend with soul family, and actually getting to do that most weekends, where I get to connect in with the most extraordinary people doing the most extraordinary things in this world for humanity, where it's so soulful, and it's real, and it's so full of love, like genuine, not wanting anything in return love. That's what lights me up.
That is awesome. Absolutely love it. Krishla is loving it too. She says, continue loving. Thank you, Krishla. Appreciate that. And she's put here now, she said gear, but I think she means fear. Fear can't live in gratitude. True gratitude, feeling gratitude, not just saying. Feeling, I think feeling, she's saying there. Feeling gratitude, not just saying. Yeah, absolutely. So valuable, ladies. She said, fear can't live in gratitude. Oh, so true, ladies. True gratitude. Thank you both. Well, I'm grateful for you too, Krishla, and grateful for you, Krissy and Dana, and everyone else joining us today. Let us know in the chat, what are you grateful for? Pop some things in the chat there. It really is so powerful when you get into gratitude. Not just writing down what you're grateful about, which is good. Writing down, thinking is good. When you actually speak it out, it's like it lives in reality. It goes to a whole other dimension when you speak it out. And this is where the Global Good News Challenge is incredibly powerful. Free challenge every month where you can share gratitude and good news. And the December one starts December 6th, 12-day challenge. I challenge you to do the challenge. Do the Global Good News Challenge is one way you can get into gratitude. And that beautiful diary you had there, where can people get one of those diaries?
I got mine from, I think it was QBD. I think it's the bookshop.
Okay.
That I got mine from. But I also know, if you're in the Brisbane Red Bank area, that Go Vita in Red Bank, go in and see Michelle or Brooke in there, and they'll be able to help you out. And they've got some incredible things in there as well. But they've just got the book in today, so you should be able to pick that up from there. But get in quick, because I think they're going to walk out the door. They're just absolutely stunning.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, just grab yourself a diary. Even if you don't invest in yourself, like if you can invest in yourself, but if you can't, just get yourself a diary and sit and allow 5-10 minutes a day. If you can't allow 5 or 10 minutes a day to be with yourself, I'm telling you right now, you're doing life for everybody else.
Yes.
This is such a short time that we're incarnated into this life, and we never know when it's going to be taken. And I've had an incredible experience with losing so many beautiful people that I love in my life, that it's allowed me, and that I've chosen to actually just be so grateful for every moment, because we don't know when the last time will be. And I love that who had mentioned Krishla. I love that she mentioned to actually live in gratitude and not just say it. Feel it too. Like, feel the gratitude. If you are not doing a gratitude practice that brings tears to your eyes, you're actually not doing gratitude. You're just pretending to do gratitude, which is what I talked about when I was 19. Like, in personal development, it's all surface level. And I say that not from judgment, or not from shame or any other place other than just in my experience. Personal development at that level was very conscious. It was very putting a mask on and pretending, and whereas when you truly deeply connect in with yourself and with your healing process, gratitude should be felt. It should be expressed. If you love someone or something, tell them and feel it, truly feel it in your heart, in your being, in your soul, so that you have tears in your eyes with how much gratitude you actually truly have for life.
Gorgeous, gorgeous, Krissy. You are amazing. And Denna's saying here she's grateful for the friends that have her back. Absolutely,
Yeah.
Denna. I'm grateful for you, amazing lady. Another phenomenal human being on the planet. Now, Krissy, we haven't talked at all about what you do for business or how you help your clients. So I would love to hear a bit more about that now, if that's okay.
Of course. Thank you. So I am a coach and a healer. I am a speaker, a trainer, author. That's all the labels. Realistically, if we put all the labels aside, I literally just help people come back to their sovereignty, to their voice, to the power of their voice, to love. I help women connect from their masculine. A lot of women in this day and age, we have been conditioned to be in our masculine energy, to provide, to do and to achieve and to prove and all of the things. And so a lot of women are now in their masculine energy, and they're actually not connected to their feminine energy. They're not connected to their nurture, to their emotions, to their flow state, to the beauty of their vulnerability and being gentle. And so we're actually seeing a lot of men now step into their feminine energy and women step into their masculine because of the polarity. And so I help women come back to their feminine. I help them actually know that it's okay and that it's safe, by actually allowing them to connect into and find safety within their own masculine, because unfortunately a lot of women don't feel safe in the masculine collective anymore, which is really sad. So I help them find safety within themselves to be able to then allow themselves to connect in with their feminine energy, to connect in with their inner wise woman. We have lost that. We have lost who we truly are, the wisdom that is actually within us, the wisdom of our womb, the wisdom of our hearts, the wisdom of our voice. And so I help women truly connect in with all of that through beautiful events and programs that I run, masterclasses. So there's heaps of things that I facilitate to be able to help women come back home. So some of it's free, a lot of it's free, and then some of it is paid through events or programs. So I run a couple of different groups on Facebook. One's called Sisters Rising, another's called Unite, Rise, Thrive, and you can just find me at Krissy Jewell Official on socials. So I share a lot of free content. Like I just want, my purpose and mission in this world is to impact and create global shifts. And we do that by sharing as much as we can. And so my mission is so big because I want the next generation, like my big scary goal is that we actually change the world and rid the world of suffering, so that there's no domestic violence, so that there's no suicide, there's no substance abuse. And that's like my big dream. And I truly believe we could do that in a few generations if we actually just choose ourselves, so that we can then choose others.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is with a lot of drugs, the drugs just bring out what's inside you anyway. And drug can be like a suppressant just to, drown our sorrows, etc. I've done a lot of drugs in my time as well. And I know particularly when I was a hurting teenager, I did a hell of a lot of drugs back then, and drank a lot and smoked a lot. In fact, I smoked so much that I started coughing up blood at one point, and that is what helped me stop smoking. Actually, that was a big turning point for me, is actually coughing up blood, and then drinking to the point where I was just sick all the time, hangovers. It was just horrible, really, when I look back at it. However, at the time I didn't love myself, and I didn't want to be here for a long time as well, like yourself, Krissy. I had depression as well. And, I know now that was suppressed anger. That depression was suppressed anger, and I didn't know how to get that out and how to release that. I did play table tennis. I became a very good table tennis player. I used to beat the hell out of the ball in that way. However, it still wasn't really getting to the core of the issue, right? So doing that inner work, I think, is just so, so powerful. And, meditating, taking time to slow down, slow down to speed up is a great saying. Slow down and just savor the beautiful moments of life. We just have so much magic all around us. And I love the work you do, Krissy. I hopped on one of your events the other night and I absolutely loved it. And I know you have something else coming up on Saturday. We've both got events we're running on Saturday.
No,
they can come to my event first and then go to your event. So what's your event, Krissy, on Saturday?
So my event on Saturday is from 1 to 5. It's called Ask and Receive. So this particular event, I run another event called Ignite Your Worth, and it's very masculine. It's very much primal screaming and shame release, and it's so deeply connecting back to your power. This event on Saturday is actually dropping more into the feminine. And we can't receive the fullness of life unless we receive ourselves. So this event is really around actually connecting back in with yourself and truly dropping in to allow yourself to receive yourself. So I'm super excited because not only is it's an experiential events. It's not passive. You don't sit there and take notes. That's what the whole masterclass is for. You get to actually go and take notes on that. This is experiential. So you actually will get to move through and shift and release and connect in so that you can manifest and create what you truly want and keep it. So often we can create and bring in all these things that we want, but then we don't actually keep it because we're not in the frequency of keeping it. All our belief systems actually prevent us from keeping it. So this 4-hour introduction into receiving, it's the only half a day we're running. Next year we're running it as a full day. It's an introduction for you to come back home to you. So I'm super excited. It's a game changer.
Love it. And where's that going to be on Saturday?
Jewell in Ipswich. So on the beautiful property that I'm staying at, this beautiful space out here and just the most magical space. So I'm super excited. I can actually drop the link if you...
Yes, drop the link into, either into do it in the private chat. I can copy it over to the...
Beautiful.
I'll just pop my link in there too while we're at it.
Absolutely.
Link where people can find me in the meantime. And Ipswich is a beautiful area. I lived in Ipswich for a while. I was in Woodend when I was working at the Queensland Times in Ipswich, and we had a bat colony out the back. And I used to love the bats. However, a lot of people don't like the bats, right? This is
so many bats out here.
So I love the bats. I just love them. They're so beautiful.
I just love nature. It's all beautiful messages. It's all beautiful messages.
Yes. And when you look at bats up close, they're the most adorable things. But of course, we've been taught to fear things and say, well, bats created the Lassa virus. Well, do you know, more people have died from gaming machines falling on them than from the Lassa virus from bats, right? That's a fact, okay? Gaming machines falling on people has killed more people than Lassa virus from so-called the Lassa virus from bats is what they say, right? So do your own research into everything, my friends. There's what do you believe to be true that isn't? That's always a good question to ask. What do you believe to be true that isn't? Have discernment
with everything, not just there's information on both sides if you choose to look, and it's having discernment on anything that you read and not just reading it and being like, yes, that validates my theory and that validates my belief system. It's actually going, no, let's question it all, question it all. And does this align with the future and with the life that you truly want? And if it doesn't, what do you need to change? What do you need to believe? What do you need to... Life is literally a fantasy if we choose it to be. So what fantasy do you want to live? Because right now we can look at the fantasy that is quite honestly showing a bit of a shit show and a hot show. And is that truly is that the kind of fantasy that you want to live? I'm about a never-ending story fantasy. That's me.
It is a bit like a science fiction film right now, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Very interesting times. And I love what you say about, the masculine and the feminine. That's been a big journey for me. I've been very masculine a lot of my life as a journalist. It's been go, 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 very much in my head. And a lot of that has been to avoid intimacy too. I've had fear of intimacy with men. And recently, as you know, I had a big breakthrough in that area over the weekend.
I'm so celebrating you for that.
It was huge, huge, huge. Huge. And we, scientifically, we carry the DNA of 7 generations. As you say, we heal the past and we heal the future 7 generations both ways, or we don't, right? So we can choose for it to end here, to stop here, or the generations of suffering that we carry in our DNA. We can choose for it to stop with us and do the inner work,
Totally.
and at the same time, it's a process and it's an unraveling, and it's, and even though I've had a massive clearing on the weekend, I'm sure there's going to be more, it's like the layers of the onion, right? I'm sure there'll be more. However, I think each time you get closer to the divine consciousness, to that inner wisdom, that love that is within and around, and, to that source energy. And I must say, since my weekend breakthrough, I feel a lot lighter. I definitely feel a lot lighter and a lot. And I feel like I've helped heal definitely a few generations, and so grateful for the beautiful space that was created, and having a great environment, as you mentioned, Krissy, is so important. Having a supportive community around you. And for the event that I attended with you, it was fantastic. I loved what you gave. You gave so freely, so much amazing content. You gave from the heart. And of course, a very big feminine thing is, tapping into all 3 brains, right? We've got the head brain, the heart brain, and the gut brain, right? So tuning into that as we're learning different information.
Oh, we've lost you. Hopefully she'll be back soon. But yes, while she comes back on, environment is everything. So if you look around and you witness the environments and they are not uplifting you, and they are dragging you down into pits, and they're not calling you forward with love, and they're bringing you down, and maybe even bringing you into tall poppy, then I invite you to look deeper and to look around, because there are communities out there, like incredible communities out there, that will love you and support you and give you all of the things that you need. And now it looks like we've lost her completely. So I'm sure she'll come back on in a minute. But we truly get to create the life that we want and desire. And if there are certain things that you're not happy with, and if there's people in your life that you're not fully receiving love, then I encourage you to truly look externally and find and speak up and find your people. Welcome back, beautiful.
Thank you. Yes, I'm glad you carried on there. We're talking tribes and community, and having positive people around us. And some there'll be frequency shifts. We'll go offline, right? We'll go into other dimensions at times. And right now, I can't control what the internet's doing right now. So
yeah.
It's a perfect example of how you're going to be when life throws curveballs, right? When things go unexpectedly, how are you going to be about it? You're going to stress about it, or go, okay, well, let's just go with the flow here and see what happens. So, yes. So anyway, we're shooting the breeze in some amazing topics here tonight, I must say, Krissy. Now, here's Krissy's link if you want to go to her event on Saturday. And there it is, Ask Receive, krissijewell.com/Ask Receive. And you can come to my event in the morning. I've got a social media masterclass from 9 till 12 on the Gold Coast, and you would have enough time to leave straight away and go up to Ipswich to Chua and go to Krissy's event at 1 o'clock. There you go. Perfect. We've got your whole day planned out for you on Saturday.
Saturday is planned.
Saturday, the 20th of November, 2021. That's it there. So check out Krissy's link, check out my link, linktree/Aldwyn. You can see I've got the social media masterclass linked in there. I also have a free publicity secrets masterclass coming up and a whole lot of other events. How else can people connect with you again? Krissy, you did mention earlier, but in case anyone missed it.
Yeah, so on my socials, either Facebook, TikTok, Instagram at Krissy Jewell Official. You can go check me out on YouTube, and I share a lot of wisdom and meditations and activations on YouTube at Krissy Jewell. Or just reach out to me. Find me on Facebook. Mention that you've seen me on here. I love to give, and as Aldwyn mentioned, like anyone who connects with me, you can feel my heart. And right now, that's what we need the most. We need people in their heart just showing up and holding space. And right now, if there's any mission that is truly true to my heart, it's showing up with love and compassion and kindness. And so if any of this has resonated with me, please add me on Facebook. And I share a lot of content there. I share a lot of my journey and experiences so that people can know they're not alone. And I'm not someone who's professional and will put on a suit and pretend. I'm as probably real as they come. But with that, you also know where you stand, and you know that I fucking genuinely care. Like,
yes,
absolutely care, and will show up for you in your darkest of days, because that's what I needed when I was going through my stuff. And so I've basically became the person that I needed the most for others.
Beautiful, Krissy. Beautiful, beautiful human
also
being
website,
you are.
Sorry. You can also go to my website, www.
Oh, the website, of course, yes, which is KrissyJewell.com. Krissy Jewell with 2 S's and 2 L's. KrissyJewell.com/ask receive. Dennis says, great advice, Krissy. Thank you, Denna. Thank you so much. And she says, and saying your dog's saying great advice as well. Your dog's loving it. And Dennis says, amazing, Aldwyn. I'm so happy for your breakthrough. Thank you very much, Denna. I appreciate that. And it was thanks to Krissy, was also in that very safe space, thanks to your energy, Krissy, that enabled that breakthrough to happen. I know a lot of people at our amazing weekend had a lot of breakthroughs, which was awesome. Dennis says, we were both frozen, but she could hear everything still. Okay, that's great. Well, apologies if you missed anything there, but if you did, just come back to it. And that's the thing in life, right? The roller coaster ride of life. There's going to be times you're up here. There's going to be times you're down here. Times you're going to go round and round in circles. Times you're going to feel like you're going backwards in life. And times we just need to slow down to speed up. So sometimes a bit of disturbance going on out there. Maybe it's just the universe telling us to just slow down, just chill out, just don't worry about it, right? Go with the flow, be in the zone, go with the flow, right? As much as possible. Do what you love. So important. What is it that brings you joy and that fills your cup up so you can help others with the overflow? Any final tips today, Krissy? I could keep chatting with you all night, but we've got got to get some sleep at some point. And I haven't had very much of that the last week, I must say. Been averaging about 4.5 hours a night, so a good night's sleep would be good tonight. So any other tips, though, before we go, about how to turn pain into purpose?
Very briefly, acknowledge where you are, accept where you are, take responsibility for where you are, forgive yourself and others, and then choose. Where do you want to be? Acknowledge, accept, responsible, forgive, choose.
Yeah, nice. I like it.
We go through that in my 6 weeks to solidarity program. We literally dive deep into that, and it's the formula. It's a game changer. So
awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So if you're watching this, if you're feeling drawn to Krissy in any way, do reach out. She's put an olive branch out there to come and connect with her. She's an awesome person, definitely worth knowing and having in your circle, or being in her circle, or, collaborating, co-creating circles. And, Krissy interviewed me recently for her show. Now I'm interviewing her for my show, and we're doing a whole lot of other stuff together. And I feel so blessed and honored to know you, and and it's only been fairly recently that we met. However, what an amazing sisterhood connection that we have, amazing soul connection. I feel so connected to you in so many ways, and I feel you so deeply, and so honored and grateful. So grateful today. So thank you so much, Krissy, for coming on. Is there any final words you'd like to share before we wrap up today?
Firstly, thank you. Thank you for just who you are and how you show up in this world, and just the incredible human and woman that you are. Thank you. I feel so blessed to be walking beside you in this incredible journey, and to have sat with you on the weekend, like just honoring you in every way. Thank you. Final piece is do the work. Do the work. I know that there's so much discomfort and there's so much pain with actually uncovering parts of ourselves that have been dormant or that we've pushed away. And I get it, like I really do. But for as much pain as we experience if the same, if not more pleasure. And I don't know about you, but I love pleasure. And so I'm willing to deal with and face off with the depths of pain. Like on the weekends, the depths of pain that I experienced was ginormous. And
yes.
And I invite it in because I know that on the other side of that pain is the most immense pleasure, the immense power. And so I invite it in. So I invite you to go there and to be with yourself and to be with your shadow and to witness the things that have made you feel uncomfortable or made you feel a certain way, or have had you experience life in a not so beautiful way, so that you can actually experience more pleasure and more sovereignty and more power than you've probably ever known possible. But you have to go through it. You can't actually go around it, or over it or under it all.
So true. So true. And it reminds me of the Divinal song. It's a fine line between pleasure and pain. You've done it once, you can do it again. And it's like the butterfly, right? The caterpillar turning into a butterfly. It's got to go through the pain of that. No one can help a caterpillar or butterfly free its wings from the cocoon, because you will just damage the wings and won't be able to fly. So the blood that's formed in the wings of the butterfly needs to go through that challenge to have enough blood in their wings to be able to fly. So that's the same with human beings. Sometimes we need to go through those dark places so we can come out the other side, go through the dark tunnel to see the light on the other side.
Absolutely.
And there is just so much light around and so much to be thankful for. So thanks again, Krissy. It's been an absolute pleasure. And do connect with Krissy here. Dennis says you can see your connection, ladies. Thank you, Denna. Thank you, gorgeous human that you are. And Dennis says, my guides speak to me in music. And I was also thinking of that song, Aldwyn.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, like we actually receive signs from the other side in so many ways. And music, my mum and my nana speak to me through music all the time. So I so resonate with that.
Yeah.
Be open to the signs. Yeah. We're always so divinely guided.
Be open to the signs. Absolutely. Yes, so true, Krissy. Thank you once again. Thanks so much. And once again, Krissy's website right here, krissyjewell.com/ask-receive for her event. You can find all my event links here at linktree/Aldwyn. If you like what you've seen today, then please give us a love, put a comment in there, share the love to your social media too. You never know whose day you may brighten up by sharing this amazing, inspiring interview today on Media Queen TV. If you haven't subscribed to Media Queen TV on YouTube yet, we're all about inspiring truth and good news. Over 700 videos on there now. So if you want some more inspiration, head over there and you could be there for years watching all that content. However, I do recommend just go to what you're drawn to and watch something you're drawn to, and you will definitely get some gems if you do that. So thank you so much once again. Beautiful Krissy, amazing, amazing. Rebel of receiving. Be open to receiving as much as giving, my friends, right?
Absolutely. Thank you,
Queen. There's abundance there for you, my beauties. There is so much.
I love that.
There for you, my darlings. You have everything at your fingertips. Okay. Yeah. I think my grandma just came out then. Anyway.
I love that.
I love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Now eat some more food. Okay. Thanks so much. Thank you, Krissy. Thanks for joining us. Have a beautiful day or night wherever you are in the world. And as Gandhi says, Be the change you wish to see in the world. And as I say, shine bright and light up all those around you. Lots of love, lots of love. Thank you, Dana. Thank you, Krisha. Thank you, everyone who joined us. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Sending you love to the moon and back. Bye for now. See you again soon. Bye.